Former LSU linebacker and member of the 2007 national championship winning team, Darry Beckwith, knows a thing or two about how the defensive side of the ball works, to put it mildly. It's clear to most Tigers fans that the current LSU defense regressed a bit during their matchup against Nicholls State. And on today's episode, Todd, Horne, and Jeff Palermo welcome Beckwith to dissect what went wrong, what went right, and what needs to change. What are the consequences of the loss of Jacobian Guillory, and how will things be retooled to compensate? And just exactly where on the field will Harold Perkins be best utilized? I'm your host, Jake McMains, and this discussion and more right after a word from our sponsors.
Hi, I'm Mike Munderland, and we're here to smash the capital city's trash.
Smash My Trash is a revolutionary compactor for large dumpsters, sometimes reducing the volume of waste by up to 70%. This means fewer hauls per month and big savings for your business. Fewer hauls and compacted waste will also result in a positive impact on our community and our environment by taking up less space in our local landfill sites. Schedule your company's free demo today. Call 225-497-0101.
Y'all ready? Yeah. Let's go. Come on.
Tiger Rag Radio is on the air.
Let's crank this thing up.
We're statewide, breaking down the latest happenings with LSU athletics.
This is us.
Hear from the coaches.
Put together a defense that puts us in a position to win the SEC.
The players.
Having fun and we working, baby. That's it, baby.
The recruits.
Show some passion and some heart.
And those who cover the Fighting Tigers of LSU and the SEC.
All those things are going to be there, which are important.
It's 2 hours of nonstop LSU talk.
What a privilege. I mean, you get to represent LSU.
Tiger Rag Radio is brought to you by Cummins. Cummins creates power solutions that the world depends on. Helm Paint and Decorating. The paint experts of Louisiana. Louisiana Beef Industry Council. Max Home. And the East Baton Rouge Parish Library. Get ready to talk Tigers with producer Jackson Blackman and our hosts, Todd Horne and Jeff Palermo.
Three great players that are better people than they are players.
This is Tiger Rag Radio.
Back here on Tiger Rag Radio, Jeff Palermo, along with the executive editor for Tiger Rag Magazine, Todd Horne, and Jackson Blackman, our producer. Joining us now on the Max Home Hotline is Darry Beckwith, former LSU linebacker, member of that 2007 national championship team. Darry, how you doing tonight? I know you're hunkering down. Hopefully you and your family are safe through this weather event that we're expecting. But how's things going otherwise?
Everything is going well. Just getting ready for this storm, and hopefully everybody stays safe and we can get through it fairly quickly.
All right. Wanted to bring you on. Wanted to get your thoughts on this LSU defense after 2 weeks. First of all, let's start off on the topic of Harold Perkins. Pretty much a non-factor in the game against Nicholls. Just one game. I thought his presence was certainly known in the game against USC. But here's what Coach Brian Kelly had to say about Perkins after only collecting three tackles in that game against Nicholls.
Are we better suited in, nickel personnel? Are we better suited in three linebacker sets? So I think in answering the question, honestly, is just, I think it's a continuous search of trying to get him in a position where, he can impact our defense the most.
Well, what do you think? Are they still misusing Harold Perkins, Darry, or do you think there is a chance that this can work with him as an inside linebacker?
I was one of those guys that said that Harold Perkins, an inside linebacker, can work, and it would work strictly because of his ability to run and react to certain plays. Also, another thing that made me think that it will work out long term is because he had a full spring working out at the position. And then Blake Baker did an incredible job with Damone Clark, transforming him into one of the best linebackers in the country. I'm not saying Harold Perkins is not great at that position or can't play the position, but right now for his LSU defense, I don't think that's the position for him to make sure that defense plays at a high level. Right now, Harold Perkins is a pass rush extraordinaire off the edge. Because of his speed and his quickness, it's hard for offensive tackles to block him, basically. So right now, as it stands, I do think the inside linebacker position experiment with Harold Perkins should end. And I do believe he needs to go back to the edge, rushing off, causing havoc, put him in at a spy as a linebacker, making sure that the quarterback doesn't break the pocket, using him in different stunts and blitz packages. But as far as lining him up as an off-the-ball linebacker, I don't think that's the key. Look, I watched that game against Nicholls State, and when he get blocked, he's getting turned by offensive linemen. It's a difference between, taking on a lineman and getting stuck on the block and not be able to get off. But at least you can stuff him in the hole. He's actually getting turned by offensive linemen when he was rushing off the edge. Weeks does have more experience than Harold Perkins when it comes to the position. And look, he can work on certain things as well. Look, let me tell you something about playing linebacker. I don't care how great you are. I've seen Patrick Willis play with my own eyes. I've seen Ray Lewis play with my own eyes. When those linemen get up on you, they're so big and athletic, it's going to be hard to get off. But it's certain things and tricks of the trade that you can use to shed block. And I do think right now for them, defensively, they need to make that switch, put Weeks in at the inside linebacker to go along with Red Pen and let Harold Perkins do what Harold Perkins do. Because right now, they don't have one guy that you can just say, hey, go get the quarterback on third and long. They're creating pass rush. So don't get me wrong. They're creating pass rush with the different stunts in the games that they're running. But they don't have one guy that says, hey, go get their quarterback. For instance, the DN they're playing this weekend at South Carolina, Stewart, the true freshman, the guy is a demon at defensive end. He can go get their quarterback. So I believe Harold Perkins can be that guy when it's third and long. All else fails. Say if your stunt doesn't work, if your game doesn't work, guess what? Harold Perkins can work. So I think they have to make a decision and make it fast.
It's time to start betting on yourself. Louisiana 988 can help if you're dealing with tough emotions caused by gambling habits. You can share as much or as little as you want, and it's completely confidential. It's free, available 24/7, and most people who reach out report feeling better right in the moment. Call or text 988 anytime.
Do you think that the loss of Jacobian Guillory, who was obviously LSU's best defensive lineman, he's now out for the season with the torn Achilles, do you think it's going to change the way that the personality of that defense works, and they're going to try to concentrate more on putting pressure and stunning and doing different things, being more gambling oriented?
Anytime you lose a starter and you lose somebody with the capability of Guillory, it's going to change your defense. Because what's going to happen now, you're going to have to maneuver and change people around. You may take stands and move them to defensive tackle. So it's a lot of things that they're going to have to do personnel-wise to move guys around. If you do move guys around, that will affect how you attack the offense defensively. So now you lose a guy who's a great run stuffer, a guy who is not only strong in the weight room, but also strong in the field where he can bench press the offensive lineman, shed, and find the ball carrier. So now you're going to see a lot more stunning with the D linemen, a lot more games with the D linemen and outside linebackers to create that pass rush to, cause and create more turnovers for this defensive unit.
Would it surprise you that with those necessary changes and what we talked about with Perkins earlier, that he ends up playing star and Burns goes back to safety?
Mm-hmm. Burns does not need to go back to safety, and I don't mean that in a negative way. I don't. I never want to down a kid, but that's not his position. He's not a safety. He can run. He can look right now. I don't know if Burns, he may be leading the team in tackle. I think what people have to understand about the star position is different. The star position is a glorified outside linebacker, strong safety. You have to be able to play in space. Now, as great as we say Harold Perkins is, rushing the edge, Harold Perkins is not a great space player. What I mean by that is if you get him one-on-one in a situation where he has to break down and tackle a back out the backfield because they throw a swing pass or an arrow route or what you call a choice route, it's hard for him to play in space. So that would be difficult for him to do. I know times last year he was out in space, he didn't look too good trying to break down and tackle people. So the star position is basically a glorified strong safety in the box. So no, he cannot play that position. You keep Burns there, or you can find somebody else to move there, right? So what Brian Kelly has to get to the point to is he has to get off of this playing favorites because he likes the kid. We're not here to like the kid. Like the kid can be likable, but we're here to win ball games. So you can't please somebody to keep him on the field and move Burns to safety where Burns got burnt last year at safety. So if Burns can't play the star position, you have a guy like Colin Jackson from Zachary that was a safety at Zachary who's a physical who can play in space. So there's different options that you can be there. But even then, you're moving him to the star position, Harold Perkins. You get him out of his game plan. Keep Harold Perkins in the box, let him rush off the edge and cause havoc. And if Burns cannot play the star position, find somebody else.
Yeah. What do you think of the defensive secondary now that it appears Sage Ryan is going back to safety?
Let me tell you something about the secondary. One thing I love about those guys, they're competing this year.
Yeah.
Last year, they did not compete. One thing that let me know that they're making strides is when Ashton Stamps made their play against USC when they caught the ball for a touchdown, but he kept fighting and knocked the ball out of his hands. They're competing at a high level. Zai Alexander had a wonderful game against Nicholls State. And then with Sage Ryan going back to safety, I think that's going to open it up and make the secondary a lot better. Again, I'm going back to this whole situation in the spring where Sage Ryan played safety in the spring. And Sage Ryan had a pick every single day in spring practice, guys. Every time I read a report in the spring about Sage Ryan, he had a turnover at safety. Why would you move him back to corner when fall camp starts? So those personnel decisions I can't understand. So by moving him back to safety, which is his natural position, because he doesn't have the hips, he doesn't have the fluidity to play cornerback in the SEC. Hey, Jeff and Todd, we can run past Sage Ryan right now at cornerback. I'm not exaggerating. He's a safety.
Well, I don't doubt I could.
Moving him back to safety, he's in his natural position. He's going to be able to play well. He can play from hash to hash. And then you have Zai Alexander, and then Ashton Stamps, and also P.J. Woodland as well.
Yeah.
He's going to be a star in the future. And so now you can kind of solidify the defense. It just sucks. It takes for you to lose a game to realize that. But it is what it is, and we still have a long season ahead of us.
Hey, Darry, thanks a lot for your time tonight, man. We really appreciate it. Always outstanding insight.
Have we got a September for you? Your East Baton Rouge Parish Library has 3 opportunities to meet author Jerry Pallotta, famous children's book author of Who Would Win? See art by Clementine Hunter and enjoy the sounds of the Baton Rouge Concert Band. These are just a few of the special things happening in September with your EBR library. Details are at ebrpl.com. That's ebrpl.com.
Well, that'll be it for today's episode. I'd like to thank Todd, Jeff, and Darry for the discussion. We'll be back next week, but stay tuned to TigerRag.com for continuing coverage throughout the weekend and all your latest LSU sports news.